Good day and welcome to today's webinar on SAP Analytics. My name is Aleksandra Borucka and I am the moderator of today's webinar. By my side, your expert and the one who will guide you through the webinar today, Bartosz Woźniak. Hello, Bartosz.
Hello.
Before we start, I want to give you some information. We have about 60 minutes scheduled for the webinar. The webinar recording and also the slides will be sent to you after the webinar by email. If you have questions during the webinar, you can ask them in the navigation window on the right. The answers will be sent to you also after the webinar via email in the next few days. So I will start with the idea of SNP in a nutshell, and as I said, Bartosz will guide you through the main part of the webinar. Let's take a look at the SNP. Basically, we call ourselves the transformation company, which means our core business is the transformation of SAP-centric IT environments. We distinguish here ones from economic reasons, which can lead to changes in IT landscapes, and on the other hand, also IT-driven or technical causes, which can play a role here. In other words, if we look at the economic reasons, these may be mergers, acquisitions, sales, spin-offs, general restructuring within the companies, or looking at the technical point of view, consolidations, harmonizations, or with regard to new technologies as for HANA, HANA as a database. Let's have a quick look at the world map, how we are positioned. We are originally from the roof region, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. Our headquarters are located in Heidelberg. We have grown a lot in recent years. We are now over 1,200 employees all over the world. This is a big advantage for us because we can directly serve our customers over several time zones. For example, today's webinar we are running from Poland. Okay, then just a quick look at our SNP transformation portfolio in a nutshell. We have here a new tool, which I would like to introduce to you briefly, so-called Crystal Bridge. The Crystal Bridge lies above the migration and the technical transformation and prepares you for upcoming projects that you are planning. Crystal Bridge also helps you to make and simulate important decisions, how to implement a particular project and how to transform the system. Crystal Bridge graphs your SAP ERP environment, speeds up your business transformation, and of course minimizes costs and risks for you. You get easy to understand, intelligent and interactive recommendation, so you do not get long technical reports. It simply gives you a deeper understanding of your ERP landscape, and it simply changes your approach, for example, for mergers and acquisitions or upgrade projects. Here is a short list of our certifications and standards. I don't want to read out everything here. You can see that we are certified and also partnered in many ways, and our software approach is also certified, so we can take a closer look at it when you want to. That's it to the SNP and from my side, so I would like to hand over to Bartosz and hope you enjoy the webinar.
Hello again. My name is Bartosz Woźniak. I am BI and BW team lead, and I will lead this part of webinar. Today we will talk about SAP Embedded Analytics as a part of S4 HANA. As we expect many business users, we plan to revert a bit classic agenda, therefore the live demo will be not at the end but at the very beginning, just after a few slides of introduction. And afterwards I will present possible system architecture where SAP Embedded Analytics is placed. And I will also answer or provide you guidelines to answer this question, which emerged after implementing or after presenting Embedded Analytics by SAP. So namely, is it is BW still needed? We will then compare SAP BW Embedded with standalone BW, and we will show very briefly what are the migration options to BW for HANA and explain what's the benefit of such action. So what's embedded analytics? It's the predefined, out-of-the-box, ready to consume bunch of data sets and analytic applications available for reporting. It is very important to mention that you do not need any additional licensing to implement or to run embedded analytics. It is mainly designed for operational reporting, but this is, let's say, just a guideline. You may also provide analytical reporting with some few restrictions, which I will name in the second part. It is based on virtual data model. It does mean that there is no data persistency. This data is not loaded overnight. It is not stored in any separate tables. It is taken directly from the tables which are used in the transaction, in transactions. And therefore, it is always up to date, and it is built on so-called core data services. So this is just a transparent view which generates SQL view on database level. So what's the benefit? It's the insight for all. It may happen. So first of all, there is no disconnection between transactional and analytical systems. So there is no cost of integration. You may avoid potential errors when it comes to data loading or data reconciliation. There is no need to deploy separate tools for new user group. So usually tools have been challenging to deploy and difficult to use. In most implementation projects, only some specific user groups were served with analytic tools, and afterwards, as management or project sponsors are rather reluctant to implement other tools because they are costly to implement, and therefore they are postponed or never implemented. There is no issue with disconnected data silos with integration, so no unnecessary cost and unnecessary complexity. SAP serves consistent user experience across all these applications, so it's modern, it's iPad, iPod-like, it's like YouTube. It should be easy. You may access to these applications through a web browser. It is worth to mention. So SAP Embedded Analytics is a set of Query apps visible or accessible through the web browser. It does not mean that this installation is in the cloud. It's just a separate entry point to your SAP system. So you may have usual GUI, and you may have web interface in the form of Query apps, and one of them may be SAP Embedded Analytics tiles. Why this has been implemented by SAP as a tool? Because our pattern of system use has changed. Imagine that you have month-end closing. You would like to post some manual journal entries. And in case you have separate standalone BW, you have two options. You may ask your IT, or you can trigger, let's say, on-demand data load. Or, let's say, more common when you are not advanced user, you will wait overnight, and next morning you will check if everything has been already reconciliated. If not, you will provide additional postings and then wait next day, till next day. So it's very time consuming, very inconvenient. It may cost costs. You may also consider this in case this is fourth example that you would like to go through products profitability analysis, display slow-moving items report, analyze sales by customer groups. Maybe it's worth to combine products into sets, and afterwards, based on this analysis, change price lists and apply appropriate discounts. Usually the first part was not available in transactional system. Nowadays it is possible to have both analysis and, let's say, daily transaction in one system. So you may benefit from this approach. So SAP Embedded Analytics, these are Fiori apps. They are built on core data services views. You have multiple applications. You have one to create reports. Because of the ease of use and because of the fact that this is a part of transactional system, this report, specifically this app for creating reports, has very strict, let's say, layout. You are able to create this report only with one chart and one grid, or as you wish, one table. But it gives you drill down flexibility. You may add dimensions or measures, you may filter, you may sort. If you don't want to make a drill down by a specific dimension, you may also display details without drilling down. It's easy to save as a variant, save as a tile, and you may also access this through Fiori tile. Second application in Embedded Analytics portfolio is KPI design. So you may use tiles as a blank tiles, but you may also want to have them being numerical type with some conditional formatting. So at the first glance you will be informed what's going on in your company or in your department. You have multiple appearance options, and after pressing such a KPI you are allowed to configure some specific report to be displayed, most probably explaining reasons behind this KPI. For third tool is analysis path framework. So it's a specific analysis path where you define steps, and based on this analysis steps you are assumed to go to some conclusion. You may create such paths, you may share them, you may save them, and as an end user or as a power user you may create such paths in limits defined by administrator. So he, let's say, defines which filtering, which dimensions, which measures you may use, but up to end user is what he or she will finally do with it. We have also query design application, so it's let's say for end users to build very specific queries. You may also, as a part of Query Designer, is view browser, so you will see during our demo that there is a lot of predefined already delivered with every S4 system CDS views. Or you can use, let's say, the core functionality, so create your own queries with restricted key figure, calculated key figure, pop-ups created by user, so it's very powerful. Last feature is to create predictive models based on algorithms and predictive libraries. You may create model, test it, and predict based on data which is available in S4 system. So now we are going live. We are going through a live demo in our test environment. This is our welcome screen. As first application, we can see that we are able to create reports. Let's try to create one report from scratch. I will go to create report. I would like to name it, let's say ZW from webinar, and let's say N, that's English, sales overview. You may provide descriptions, you may provide tags to find easier what you want. You may provide owner name, which is responsible for granting authorizations or which is responsible for logic behind a report. But you may use one of thousands CDS views. I would like to report based on sales order line items. I will show you later. There is a view browser where you can find and quickly view, quickly look at a view which may be a base for your query or for your report. This order item query. Now we are asked to provide a data service. So this is a service which takes data from this CDS view and, let's say, enable them for consumption. And entity set is a set of dimensions and measures available through this publication. As you can see, there is a prompt asking about transport. So all of these objects in Fiori or in Embedded Analytics use traditional SAP transport systems, so there is no need to collect some files manually and then move it to other environments. Now we are asked to create evaluation. This is nothing more, nothing less, but just creation of filtering, applying filtering on the whole CDS view dataset. We go back to our home screen and we would like to create a drill down for this report. Drill down is available view for a report. So we will now configure a view. First, a chart is created, and first a diagram is created, and afterwards we will create a chart. Let's take customer group. and all measures, maybe not all, maybe sales order quantity, sales order item. Okay. I would like this chart to be a bubble chart. We may assign specific order as we are not assigning any of these dimensions to the elements, so this will be assigned based on the order in this table. So customer group going up and net amount going down. So it is as I would like to. Let's name it sales income quantity sold. You may present this chart based on dummy data. You may use actual backend data, but this is option only during creation time. So first view has been created. You need to create second one because it is not possible to save configuration only with one view. And the second view may be only a table. This is, let's say, some kind of form of this report. I would like to add sold to party, material, material group, and from measures, all of them. Again, as you can see, net amount is on the first place. I need to order this. You cannot change a chart type. It will be table and then must be table. Let's name it the all sales by customer and save it. Save configuration. Going back to home screen. So what we need to create a tile. So tile will be, as you could see, it was it is let's say a button in this web interface. As you can see, we have no tiles. We will add one. Let me pick another one. So for our sales report overview, we will have two drill down options by using chart and using table. Save configuration. What we now need to do is to log out as the system refreshes only during login. And what I would like to do now is to assign this report to my home screen. So I need to find this report in my catalog. and it was ZW for webinar and EN for English. Sales overview assigned to my home screen. Close. Going back to my home screen, I have a Fiori tile for this report. I need to fill in displayed currency as it is mandatory, and we are unable to display this visualization as we have different units of measures. I have checked this data, and this is what you should do before publications. And I would like to exclude one of our sold-to-party guys. So you may make this filter visible in our filter bar, and I would like to exclude one of them. And that will be L02. L10. Okay, sorry, once again. Okay, so our visualization is already available. You may want to see only visualization. You may want to see only a table. You may want to see this next to each other. As you click on the dot over here or one element in a chart, this table down will be filtered. But as you wish, you may stop this, let's say, linked analysis, and these are now fully independent. Yes, show all items. Although they are blinking, this table is blinking, that will not change. You are allowed to, for example, add something to this table down here. I would like to add, let me just check, material description, and I would like to place it just right after material. Okay, so we have some forklifts, some slow-moving items, some bikes. I would like to remove sold to party and then sold by net amount. So I can see that, let's say, the biggest sales has been generated by bikes, and this specific M525 bike is a leader. What I may do is to save this analysis after applying filtering or after applying additional dimensions as a, it is called here a view. This is, let's say, what we would say usually in SAP, what we would name as a variant. And I may make this default to me, and I can use it or mark it as public, so other user could pick it from the drop-down list over here. What I can do, I also may publish this after applying filtering as a tile, or send this through mail. Going to the second demo option, what we will have is to go through what's available in views in form of core data services views. As you can see, there are thousands of these views already prepared by SAP, delivered, already installed and filled with data. Let's say it's not physically filled, but these codes are returning data, most of them. Of course, it depends on this, if the functionality has been implemented in your installation or not. It's easy to find some applicable view. You may use this filtering options. So I would like to find some view for finance. That should be query. So query is, let's say, view which is available for consumption right away. And I would like to have this type consumption. So as you can see, we have a lot of views available for finance, for general ledger, for some local adjustments, local requirements. What I decided to show you today is accounts receivables views. And as you can see, after selecting this view, you are able to display content, so display data from this view. Let's go before to description of this view. From end user perspective, you are able to see which fields are available in this view, with description, with a field type, if you wish. Sometimes this also may guide you where this is taken from. From more technical perspective, you may see that this is consumption view, so it is allowed to build queries based on this. And also from more technical perspective, you can see reference to other dimensions like region, country, customer. Let's go and show the content of this view. So this is the default view from the very beginning. Let's try to play with the data here. I would, let's say, take company code. Oh. Okay, customer. You may pause the refresh of the main window just to apply changes faster, and then refresh only once a time. So as you can see, all of these payments are already overdue, more than 90 days. So if you would like to have a clear view, we would like to suppress 0 rows. That's doable with only one click. I would like to also restrict the number of measures displayed here. I would like to pick only 2 because it's not necessary. I would like to have total amount and overdue amount. We may also have a look on this as previously, having a visualization and a table below. For example, as this is a test system, all payments are already overdue, but usually you would have a total amount of receivables and already overdue amount. Maybe it's worth to keep an eye on this business partner, and then maybe I call them, maybe it will be almost not feasible to receive a payment after 10th of the month. So it gives you a quick overview what you can expect in the future. Imagine we would like to create some different visualization. We may do so going to filters and filtering by region. As all of my records are coming from the same company code, and this net due interval is also meaningless as all of them are overdue for more than 90 days, I may delete this simply by drag and drop, and I would like also to change the type of this chart. And now I can easily see where my receivables are and what I can expect. As I said, that will be different in a productive system. As in our demo, everything is overdue already now. So that's it for the for a demo. We may publish this as a tile. Into my home group, home screen. And I would like to assign this, or maybe log out. Yes, you have receivables analysis, and it's available with one click, right as we have created just it few seconds ago. Going back to our, let's say, PowerPoint part or theory, this is how it may look like when it comes to S4 HANA Landscape. What I just shown is this red marked part, so this is Embedded Analytics part. You have built-in applications, so this is the application responsible for creating queries, for creating views, for creating tiles, KPIs. You have SQL views created in database layer, but these SQL views in database level are, let's say, automatically created based on what has been created in S4 HANA application server. Of course, there is analytical engine, and it is responsible for processing all these queries and moving and drilling down, filtering, sorting, and so on. The next question we would like to answer is BW still needed? Because if we have real-time reporting capabilities, why do we need BW? So if you have multiple data sources, so if S4 HANA is not your single information system or single source system, you should go for BW. It will help you to serve big data volume because of data from different source systems. you most probably will need data cleansing and data harmonization, and such results will be then saved into database tables. As Embedded Analytics does not store any data and it's fully virtual, so it's based on SQL views, we do not have place to save these records after cleansing and harmonization. And doing this on the fly is most probably possible, very hard to implement, but it would be reflected in poor performance, or maybe reflected in poor performance. If you would like to provide some complex calculations that go beyond plus minus and some simple division or multiplication, you are also advised to go for BW. It might be, I know the cases that some customers are calculating production costs in BW because only in BW they have full data set necessary for such action. That would be not possible in S4 HANA Embedded Analytics. And if you have the need for integrating some third-party solutions, it is also advisable to use BW. If you are loading multiple times per day, maybe you should consider Embedded Analytics. It's very helpful when it comes to month-end closing and financial processing. It may be used as a real-time reporting, or you may use it as a support for transactional applications. If you would like to load data based on document level or even item level, you should keep to S4 HANA Embedded Analytics if you do not process them. Because you will avoid data duplication, so it's unnecessary cost of managing this and keeping this in another system. If you would like to, on the other hand, provide long-term analysis, most probably you should go for BW, as data and business warehouse is most probably aggregated. So, and you can gain from nearline storage or use dynamic tiering. Dynamic tiering is a mechanism which allows you to store some rarely used data, not in HANA memory, but on a very fast disk. So it's kind of cheaper archive, but it's also available on demand without any, let's say, integration from IT. So you could have the vision that, okay, so BW is not needed anymore. It is needed if you require some planning applications which would exceed features included in integrated business planning or included in consolidation, BPC for S4. It also would be required if you use time-dependent master data. For example, you may have material attributes like dimensions, like packaging, like business partner address. So this may change over time, and if you would like to report this based on history, that will not be possible in S4. The same for hierarchies. So it is not possible to maintain time-dependent hierarchies. The example might be that you assign cost center for some department. This may change over time, and afterwards you would like to see how it would be reflected if you would not provide this change, or how some manager would perform if with the old assignment and with current new assignment. So that will not be possible in embedded analytics. And let's say it could be a main point. So if you have significant current BW investment, it is very likely that you were right in the past. So if you have invested in BW, most probably you need it. It may be that some BWs have been implemented just for 5 or couple users, but most of them integrates data from multiple systems and serve for hundreds or thousands of users. So that will not be the case for embedded analytics. But if BW has been implemented for a smaller solution, smaller company or number of users, you may use or implement SAP BW Embedded. This is a solution usually applied when it comes to business planning and consolidation, but it is also a part of S4 HANA. No additional licensing is required. It has full functionality of standalone BW. It should support, and it is supporting, integrated business planning and this consolidation part. Let's say the main limitation, but this is only recommendation, this is not technical limitation, is to keep in this embedded BW up to, when it comes to data volume, up to 20% of overall data volume of the source system, so of your S4 HANA installation. This is because this is some kind of threshold, let's say golden rule. Most probably if your data volume exceeds this 20%, you are already in the field to use, let's say, standalone BW to ease the use of BW for your end users and not to affect too much transactional system with your analytical requests. For such cases, currently SAP offers BW for HANA, so this is BW based on SAP HANA database. The gray marked are, let's say, advantages of business warehouse in general. The red mark are additional advantages because of BW for HANA, because of HANA database. So what we gain is the centralized, easier to govern reporting system. We reduce the load on transactional systems, so your operating transaction will run smoothly. You will gain performance, especially when it's leveraged by HANA DB in this case. And you will gain most probably single version of through and single point of access. With BW for HANA, we have limited, or SAP has limited number of BW objects, as you can see on the right hand side. We have only 4 objects left. Therefore, because of this simplification, we have streamlined architecture, which is being reflected in limited data redundancy. And because we are not loading so much data, or because we are not processing this data so many times, we can reduce data load times. Now, we can also reduce development time thanks to virtual objects and the smaller number of objects in general. If you would like to, you may use a feature which is called Smart Data Integration, which allows you to grab data virtually without storing them in BW during report request. You then partly delegate calculation to the source database. So it is also some kind of distribution of the calculation effort between systems. If you would like to, you may also use or gain from field-based modeling. So you do not need info objects any longer to build data flow or data objects. You may prepare some blueprints, test them, prepare them very quickly, and after successful testing you may implement into your enterprise the full-fledged model, let's say with guarantee of success, but preparing blueprint will be much faster, or some temporary need reports also will be much faster. What are the possible ways to migrate to BW for HANA? So the easiest way would be to have a new installation. This is rather for customers that don't have their own BW yet. So you may create brand new system and provide all the new development in the new system. You may upgrade your existing BW system to application server version 7.5 and then upgrade your database to SAP HANA. Of course, you may do this in one step, but both of these are requirements. Afterwards, you apply so-called starter add-on, which will give you a full power of SAP BW for HANA system. If you have also other options, you may make a carve-out, so just take these objects which are still in use, which are required to be in the new landscape, and move them, convert them to objects possible to be used in BW for HANA, and then also move this data which are in these objects. When it comes to accelerated greenfield, you may, let's say, use shells, so you will take only definitions of BW objects without historical data, then convert these objects to objects which are applicable in BW for HANA, and let's say load it as you wish. You may load history, or you may start with loading actual data from your new system to the, let's say, imported shell. Most complicated is, but I would say most beneficial is if you have more than one BW system, you should or you may do system consolidation. It's fully up to you which paths you will pick and which method you will decide to go for. It simply requires some kind of analysis. We may help you in this area. So that would conclude our webinar today. We invite you to get in contact with us when it comes to BW, business intelligence, business objects, SAP Analytics Clouds, but also topics covered today, so SAP Embedded Analytics, and any analytics available with SAP products. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bartosz, for the interesting presentation. As mentioned at the beginning, you will receive the presentation and the webinar recording by email. All your questions will be answered after the webinar, and you will receive our answers in the next 1-2 days. So thank you all for the numerous appearance, and of course to you, Bartosz, for the interesting presentation. I wish you a pleasant day. See you soon. Bye-bye.